everybody, to another episode of Half a Clue Movie Review. And this is another Oscar special where we torture, well, in this case, Ron. But then I was like, we tortured Ron into watching all the stuff that he really cares about, which is the Oscars.
Oh, yes.
And focus on stats and award ceremony and force him to know, like, here, I'm like doing flashcards, like, who won Best Actress for SAG?
The thing is, I feel like a kid that's like forced to eat his vegetables, but like I don't mind the vegetables, but sometimes I just don't want to eat vegetables. It's like watching all these foreign films where I'm just like pretty much a lot of the Oscar films. I'm like, you know what? I probably wouldn't be watching them on my own, but watching them, it's not terrible. There's some very good films.
Yeah, what do you mean it's not terrible? A lot of them are great.
Yeah, a lot of them are great films.
Yeah.
Yes, I like and do enjoy it, and I appreciate watching them. But it's like
exposing you, opening your mind.
Sometimes it's kind of just
eye.
like it's a little bit force fed. I'm just like,
yeah, but then again, if you're not force fed, would you have watched it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword.
It's double edged. Okay.
Let's go. Okay, so today we're gonna go over the best foreign film or best international feature film. For three of the films, we'll like touch upon very briefly because we already have hour-long reviews
and like
about
discussions
about each of them. Or also like Flea was part of an animated special.
You can find those in the description below.
Yeah.
We'll basically just Drive My Car, Worst Person in the World, and Flea. We've already gone into detail about all three of those films.
Real quick, they're all excellent. Drive My Car is a cool 3-hour Japanese trend-breaking film. Worst Person in the World might be my favorite film of the year. And Flea, my favorite documentary of the year.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put all three of them. Honestly, Drive My Car, fantastic, really cool, slow burn, but like very interesting, style yet grounded. Worst Person in the World, like felt intensely personal at times and like very cool. It's
one of the best romantic comedies I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it's like hard to categorize it even as a romantic comedy, but there are romantic elements to it, and there are some comedic elements to it.
The director, it's like, this is how I view romance comedies. And it's like, of course. Yeah, of course.
Like, if there were more romantic comedies like this, then it wouldn't be such a drag to.
Well, you didn't want to watch Marry Me?
And then Flea was just an extremely touching and like
heartbreaking documentary times.
Yes, incredible, powerful documentary about like
immigration or even just like culture changes and stuff like that.
Yeah, this like about this young boy who's trying to escape Afghanistan at the end of the Afghan war.
Is it? If it's you're right. Yeah.
Well, he's like what, like a preteen.
Yeah.
That one, and then he becomes like a teenager.
He goes to Russia.
It's over the course. Like,
Russia, right?
Yeah, he goes to Russia.
And he goes
to
the
fall of communism. He's dealing with a lot of shit. It's a great animated documentary. Highly recommended. Yeah. So now on to the other three, which we have not spoken about. The Hand of God.
Which is, so Hand of God is directed by a personal, and I mentioned his name before on our House of Gucci review.
Oh, he said he should have directed.
Yeah, he should have directed
House of Gucci.
Like somebody like this, and I found out, like, there's always rumors that he's going to direct it, but I mean, how valid were those rumors? We don't know.
Tisk, tick, tick.
But like, and this is his least energetic film. So like, I want to show you, maybe we'll do a Paulo Sorrentino episode one day, but like showing you Great Beauty, where it's like super energetic and colorful and stuff. And even in his most muted and low key grounded film, when you compare that, the color grading of House of Gucci and color grading of Hand of God, looks, it's night and day difference.
Yeah, it's night and day. Like, I would have loved to see this guy's interpretation of House of Gucci.
It would have been actual Italians too.
Yeah, it would have been actual Italians.
I mean, to be fair, Al Pacino and Lady Gaga are Italian Americans.
Forget her name, but yes, there were actual Italians,
but like Italians,
mainland, from Italy, Italians doing Italian stuff. And
it would also be spoken in Italian.
Yeah, they'd actually be speaking Italian, not just to have like Italian accents. But anyway, honestly, Hand of God was like, it's like, it might be my up there with like Tide. Was it maybe like top 2 or 3? Like,
is it kind of like, was it a surprise? I was a little worried because I really did like the film, but it is kind of like, if you're not on the wavelength of this film, like I could clearly see like not having like polarizing opinions, but some people might be like, what the fuck was that about? This is realistic.
Yeah.
But if you like that type of film, then it's like, if you're on the wavelength, then it's like super clicks with you.
Yeah, definitely. It again, it is very much like those films like like Drive My Car, honestly, where it's like you have to be in a certain mood and a mindset to be able to go into this film to accept what you're gonna watch. If you're like, man, I just got out of Batman, let me put on Drive My Car. It's like, you're not gonna have a great time.
But ironically, Drive My Car, I feel like, is more digestible in the hand of God, because Drive My Car is a lot more straightforward narrative, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair. This is definitely like more that meandering kind of like this guy, like just kind of a slice
surrealistic
of life.
qualities to it.
Yeah, there's like there's definitely surrealist quality, which is like really like exemplified with like the camera work in particular,
Yes.
which is like I don't think they ever have like any kind of handheld thing.
They
Everything is
barely
either
have handheld. Yeah.
on sticks. Lots of like dolly zooms. Look like there's like the helicopter or drone sequence in the beginning of the film that really gives this like weird omniscient presence to the film. There's of course that very particular intro sequence with
with
little monk.
Patricia. Yeah, Patricia and the little monk. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, when I saw that, my eyes were like exploding out of my eyes.
Yes.
Insanely beautiful, especially with the chandelier in the middle of the floor, and I was like illuminating.
Great.
I was like, holy crap!
That's what immediately called my attention to this film. Again, I think just like that opening camera work as it's going over Naples. And you kind of just see the bay and the cities, right? It's Naples, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. And for people who were saying, oh, just because they're shooting in Europe, like, no, fuck you. Have you seen other Italian filmmakers who shoot in Naples? It's like 1/10 the beauty of this film.
Yes, I've said before in the past that like I feel like when people do like films that are out like in nature or something, like The Revenant is like always been my biggest gripe, where I'm like, that's kind of cheating because you're just like shooting nature.
It's
a
lot harder to shoot in nature, right? So it's also the the choice.
I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying with this one, I understand maybe where some people are coming from in that sense, where it's like, oh, it's easier to capture that natural beauty, but it's all about the way they capture it, and I think they did a stellar job.
It's kind of like how the Coen brothers and Deakins photograph North Dakota or the South or the American Midwest. It's insanely beautiful in its own way, right? Same thing with this. I always hate the argument of like just a setting, unless the setting is so insanely pretty.
It's like there's some where I'm sorry, Nomadland. Yes, it is a gorgeous film, but it's like, how much did you light those mountains?
Oh no, I know, but also but capturing at the right time of the day.
Yes.
Also, like camera settings and stuff.
I get it. I'm just saying. But when they get the shot, like the chandelier inside of that like abandoned mansion inside the floor, that's some fucking great lighting.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm just like,
And also like that one shot. I know we're supposed to go in order, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna jizz off the cinematography. But the brief shout out to the cinematographer. By the way, the fucking cheat sheets, for anyone knows, I always make cheat sheets. The cheat sheets for this one was quite a hassle. It was like 6 of them. The cinematographer, what's it called? Daria D'Antonio.
Daria D'Antonio. Yeah.
She was fantastic in this one. To be fair, I wonder. I give her credit too, but I wonder how much of it is also Apollo. Because all Apollo's films kind of look this beautiful, and this is his most this is his most muted one, actually, in a weird way. What's it called? But
let's not overshine.
No, I know, but I give a lot of props to Daria.
Yeah.
But I give so much, like that one fucking shot when it's in the nighttime and they're in the middle of the ocean when when Fabietto, right? That's the main character's name, right?
Yeah.
Fabietto's with his friend and like the smuggler, and then it's like nighttime and you just look at Naples.
Yeah.
And then all like everybody's light is on. It's that wide shot when they're in the middle. I'm like,
or even when they're swimming in like that lagoon and then there's like that blue that just like fills the entire space. Fantastic.
Or that shot where he's contemplating about just like the recent events that happened to him in life and in the volcano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
gorgeous.
Oh my gosh. It's like, and also I give props for the fucking team for like getting that fucking close to the volcano.
Yeah.
They got balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I imagine like I tell people like, let's go to a fucking volcano and shoot, and they're like, maybe not.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a gorgeous film.
What is your favorite shot? Is it the opening chandelier? Or is there
that chandelier shot really just stuck with me like throughout the film? But there's plenty of good shots. Even like the final shot of him driving away on the train, and like the credits rolling over him, just obviously just really lingered in my mind.
Yeah.
I think I want to say like that Blue Lagoon scene. It was just like really stuck with me too, where he's in the Blue Lagoon. Or even just like, again, there's a lot like where he's like riding on the Vespa with his family, his parents. There's the one where he's like, even just the family is just sitting around like and the lunch, like when they're waiting for the uncle or for the aunt, the aunt to arrive with the her new boyfriend or whatever, the guy with the voice change.
Oh, the voice
modifier thing.
modulator. Yeah, that guy's hilarious.
That was kind of funny when he just starts.
And there was like a lot of humor in this film too, actually.
Yeah, it was very funny. It was very interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah, that chandelier shot was like really hard to beat. I don't know. It's hard. I was trying to think of like another one that was like, is there something else? But like, no, that just like really just struck me, and it kind of just lingered with me.
It's a good like opener too, just like instantly get you into the idea and understand what type of film this is.
Yeah,
like it's like a magical realism, like Gael Garcia Bernal type of.
Yeah,
not
I've never seen this much magical realism applied to Diego Maradona.
yeah. Oh, not Gael Garcia Bernal, the actor, but I forgot. There's a guy what's it called, a writer that does that pretty well. Yeah, it's like, and also. So Beef People on Hand to God, what's it about? It's an autobiographical film pretty much about Paulo Sorrentino, the director, and his childhood growing up and how his childhood informed his decision to become a filmmaker. But in this case, he changed his name to Fabietto. The character's name is Fabietto.
Fabi.
That's a guy.
You gotta drop the
Schiza. Is it Schiza, right?
Schiza? Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I say it, right?
Yeah.
Fabietto Schiza, and then his brother Margino Schiza are living in Naples and dealing with their life and with their family, with their parents who have their own type of issues. And
his sister. Don't forget his sister.
Oh yeah, his sister. She's always in the bathroom. Yeah, no one cares about her. I'm just kidding. It's Baronessa, right? That's her name or something?
I don't remember.
Oh no, not Baronessa, but whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just so funny.
Oh no,
like, even at the funeral, like the wake there.
Yeah. Oh, they go like her sister.
Like, oh,
yeah.
she's in the bathroom.
What's it called? What's it called? The parents, Saverio and Maria. By the way, the actor who plays Saverio, the dad, Tony Servillo, is one of my favorite actors. Like probably my favorite might be my favorite Italian actor.
He looked very familiar, but I couldn't recall exactly where he was from.
Well, I mean, I think because I showed you the trailer for The Great Beauty a couple of years ago, but he's the main guy. He's almost in all of Paolo Sorrentino's films.
Oh,
yeah, he's probably the most famous because of Sorrentino, Italian actor, I think, right, living right now.
I see.
Yeah, he's great. Like he brings a lot of like he balances his character's flaws with a lot of humor and levity, but also humanity to it and stuff.
You could play Antonio Gucci.
Yeah. Right. Oh gosh, let's not mention that film.
Or whoever the main father was of the Gucci family. Sorry, I forget.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So it's it would have been great. Don't break my heart again. But yeah, it's like the casting, the film and stuff like that, and then Fabietto, he's forced to mature much sooner than expected after the death of his parents by a freak carbon monoxide leak, and it happens halfway through the film. It's like a complete shock. I remember watching it. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait, what? I was like, oh, we're not. And I felt the loss too because I love those two actors and I love those two characters so much.
Yeah, it's the dynamic in their family, like interaction. Yeah, exactly. Like they take their time really showing you these characters and their relationships, what they have with each other and everything. And it's not perfect, obviously. Like there's lots of flaws, but that just makes them feel more human and relatable.
Yeah.
From like spending a dinner with them, spending the day with like them and their family retreat. And everything, them like kind of like pranking each other with the bear thing, them just like, spending time arguing, just like it's just, you feel like it feels like a family. And then to have it kind of just instantly ripped away just in a moment, like out of nowhere, it's just like, what? It just strikes you.
And just as their brother reconcile, because like, the affair of the father and stuff like that.
He finally got the fireplace installed. Yeah, heartbreaking. And it just feel more realistic because that's really often how it feels when you've suffered, real life loss, where it's just
random, sudden. And
it's just like, oh, okay, just without warning.
And it's a very unique take on like coming of age too, right?
Yeah.
And it really does feel like an ambling teenager who doesn't know what's going. Like just as the film is like ambling and meandering, just like the main character, right?
Yeah.
He has in the mindset where he's just like he goes from friend to friend, like a smuggler to like a play to Antonio Capuano, who was like a acclaimed Italian filmmaker.
Sorry, that was just I love that scene where he's like, "This is no nuance. This sucks. Get off the stage." She walks off. Thank you. It's like, I'm out of here. He just leaves. Sorry. Anyway, but yes, no, I love it. It's like basically, having that come of age time is like it can be really like a confusing and like lost. Like it's a hard time to like navigate. even if you have your family there for you, but like to them have them ripped away immediately, like in that point, like you're even more lost. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you do now?
And I feel like
I don't know, the future is entirely in your hands.
Exactly. And I feel like it is able to hold true to the meandering aspect, but feel at the same time very structured because it's probably really close to the director's own life, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of pitfalls of a lot of coming of age films that I don't like is where like they try to have too much of, like, oddly enough, but too much of a straightforward narrative structure for like a lost teen, but he's like, but then but it's like the teen is supposed to be lost in his mind, but then the film is very precise and everything and like where it goes.
Yeah.
And that's where I like it doesn't work for me in those coming of age. But this one it does. It captures that like aimless feeling perfectly, all in the beautiful backdrop of Naples.
Yeah.
Favorite character. Is it Antonio Capuano?
Yeah, honestly, he's there very briefly, but he left a really big impression.
I was like, fuck that.
This sucks.
It was like,
you have a story? Do you have a story? He's like, yes, I have a story. He's like, okay, thanks. He was like, all right, stay here. Don't go to Rome. I think, he's a very striking presence. I liked him. Honestly, I liked the main character a lot too, although he's a bit of a blank slate.
Yeah.
But I think that's the point.
Yeah, he's going in, he's absorbing and stuff. He's very shy and and he cries at the randomest time, which I liked. I liked the fact that he just cried in the middle of the soccer field.
Yeah, he's just standing there and just breaks down.
Yeah. Did you love his scene where he's like, Patricia, and he has sex with her? Which I'm like,
sorry, I didn't mean to wince. I don't want to be ageist.
I did love that scene. In a weird way, I'm like he made mum about it, Paulo.
Yeah.
And he just says, well, I'll just say this, it rings some truth. And I'm just like, Paulo, you dirty bastard. But I did like that. Like, it wasn't just sex. Like, it was actually doing him a favor. Like, it didn't feel like predatory in the sense.
Yeah.
But he was like, for you to look to the future and then stuff like that. And if it's an American film, it would feel more predatory. But to be honest, in New York, not New York, and Europe, they're a lot more fluid and open with their sexuality and stuff. So it kind of works for this. Not saying I like abide by it, but it's like it's interesting. That was an interesting take.
Yeah,
and it felt very honest because I felt like that's probably what actually happened to Paulo. Yeah,
I'll say that it did feel honest. Yeah,
like 2 seconds. Just like Patricia, and it's over. I think it was gonna be a Patricia, but it was like one Patricia, Patricia. That's it.
To answer the initial question though, I'll say probably my favorite character was like the director. Very striking. Yeah.
What did you think about the autobiography? It's like this recent trend of like autobiographical films from the director.
A lot of
like
directors.
Roma, Alfonso Cuarón, Belfast, Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
This one, Upon the God, Paolo Sorrentino.
Turning Red.
Yeah, Turning Red. Yeah. I was just going, what and she's bold because that's like her first.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of this recent trend? Does it make it more personal things? In a weird way, it's like for some people it feels like homework watching this, right? It is very inclusionary type of filmmaking. But it's like in a weird way, I feel like it's producing some of the director's best works.
I don't know. For me, it's like I watch film because I'm fascinated by people's stories and lives and things that can, and especially ones that like can be so far from my own, but at the same time still feel like relatable in a certain sense because we're all human and all of our stories interconnect in some way, and that's really beautiful. So yeah, I love being transported to to Naples and watching this young boy kind of going through life and figuring out what it means to becoming a man. He's getting bigger. So he keeps getting told. And at the same time, it's like have that relate to my life in a certain sense.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Anything from like Turning Red to Belfast or whatever. There's all different aspects of adolescence. It's very interesting. Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with it. It's fascinating. It's I think it's harrowing.
It's like it gets an insight into their their mindset and how they are and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's very brave, if not just self-indulgent.
But in a good way, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I do like that.
It's interesting.
It's like for me, my favorite type of films where it offers a unique POV, and what's more unique than your own life story? That's like it's rarely do some people have the same thing.
Write what you know. I remember in college, like one of our writing professors was like, "Don't write about your own life." He's like, he specifically told us not to do that. He's like, "Don't write your own story. Don't write your own life. Don't do that. Don't make it personal." And then it's like it is fascinating to see that trend going the other way.
No,
now.
because I think he's in. I mean, I honestly had some screenwriter teacher tell me that before, but then oddly enough, like the ones he liked the most are the ones that are the most personal.
Yeah,
they offer the most unique. So they're hypocritical in that sense. Because I think it's in the sense that like if you want to be more commercial.
Yeah, I think basically you want to be more commercial, and I think the main idea that he was trying to instill in us was the fact that sometimes you have to kill your darlings or whatever. The fact that you have to like, and it's that much harder when it's like, but no, this is my story. Like I can't. Yeah. And it's like I understand that mentality, and I think it's good to go into filmmaking and writing with that mentality, maybe. But then eventually having to, it's about like you have to know the rules so when you can break them, right? So it's like I feel like eventually kind of breaking away from that is important because I think if you're starting off as a writer and you're only writing your life story, it's probably going to suck. So you have to give yourself time before you can eventually, take that hurdle. But
yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Well, I mean, you always be personal in your own stuff, like inject, but it's like it depends. Honestly, it really there's no clear handbook.
Yeah, it really isn't. No.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about our next one. It's gonna be a comparison: Lunana, a yak in the classroom, and a hero. Because this is a brief people who.
No, they have so much in common. What do you mean?
It's like a big thing. Is Lunana was the big surprise. Everybody expected the fifth slot to go to hero because Asghar Farhadi won best foreign film with his film. With two of his films. The director Asghar Farhadi.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Asghar Farhadi, who directed a hero.
Yeah.
Won 2 previous Oscars. And A Separation being like also one of the first Iranian film to get nominated in competitive categories like Best Picture, Best Screenplay, and stuff like that. And he won for that, like the Best Foreign Film, Best International Feature Film, and he won again for The Salesman. And everyone thought this was going to be the case because it was kind of a return to form after everybody knows kind of not flounder, but it was like considered like the lesser of his films.
Yeah. And
this was kind of a return to form for a lot of people found for him because he made like French language films, and he made like the last one he made was with what's her name? She was just in Parallel Mothers, Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem. So now he's going back to like an Iranian film, and it won the Grand Prix at the Cannes Film Festival, and it was like 95% critical rating at Rotten Tomatoes, 81 Metacritic. There was a lot of hype behind it, and then when they announced it, they suddenly said Lunana. And everyone was like, what the fuck is that?
It's about a yak in a classroom. Not really.
Not really. It's in the last 30 fucking minutes. Yeah. Misleading as fuck. Just call it Lunana, but I get it. A yak in the classroom is more commercial because people are like,
I guess
what's
so.
that?
Wait a second. Why is a yak in a classroom?
Be honest, you're more interested because it had the title yak.
I guess so. I don't know. I saw the trailer and then they're like, why is there a yak in the classroom? And then they're like, oh, because yaks are important to us or whatever. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And let me not disparage Lunana, yak in the classroom.
No.
It is for what it is in the budget. An absolute what's it called? A triumphant moment for the Bhutan's film industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's a very sweet film.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
It's very
slightly
sweet.
Misleading title. That's all
it is. Unless it's metaphorical, like, and you have the main character, what's it called? Ugyen be the yak, right? The benefiting everybody because they almost look at yak as like almost a religious aspect to it.
Yes.
And for hero, we're not gonna go too much into it because we have a person who actually wants to talk about it with us, and we might do an in-depth. Maybe we'll see depending on the guy's schedule.
That's Yukavong.
Yeah. It's so it was very surprised that a hero got snubbed and this one did instead. And I could, let's first get into let's first talk about each other. Lunana, yak in the classroom. Is about Ugyen Dorji from Bhutan, who he has a good government job as a teacher.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to be a teacher anymore. He wants to go to Australia and be a singer.
Yeah.
But in his last year of his contract, they were like, "You're gonna go to Lunana, like one of the most remote like fucking schools ever."
I think it's like the most remote school.
Yeah, and he's like super millennial, like into his electricity and modern technology.
Yeah.
And then what's it called? Like everyone.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, a lot of people, not just millennials.
You like
not just,
you like electricity?
It's
typical.
Like headphones and always texting and whatever. But that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I do that too.
Yeah. It's modern life.
But like, so he's like kind of like for him it's like a nightmare going to this place, right?
They don't even have electricity up there.
Yeah, they don't have shoes or they don't wear good shoes or whatever.
Terrified.
Yeah, and then and it's and then like so he goes teaches it, and obviously like a classic story where an outsider comes in, but eventually gets accepted into the foreign group, and eventually, you know, it gets emotionally tied to them, right?
Yes.
It is a very classic narrative, but I forgive it in the sense that because it's like about a certain region or a certain aspect of this country that I do not know about, I'm not familiar about. So it's very fascinating to see their culture being portrayed on screen.
Yeah, exactly. It was interesting to see that. It was just a very touching and sweet film too. Like it's not one that I'm like offended. Like how dare they just not include this film or whatever.
Yeah, major props. This is his first feature film too. Paolo
that's
joining Dorji.
Damn impressive, man. Yeah,
and you could tell this film was made on a strap shoot budget, but done really well.
Yeah,
and it's like they use the environment really well, and
shooting in this town where there's like 12 people.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So it's like
I forget the exact population, an elevation of 3 miles.
Yeah, it's insane.
For reference, it's like, you know, Denver is the mile high city, right? You go to Denver and they're like, you got to be careful. You can't like jog around or do anything strenuous because of the altitude and whatever. It's like that is 1 mile. That is mile high.
It's 3 miles.
Yeah, multiply that by 3, bitch.
Yeah, it was cool, and I did like the film quite a bit for that, and also and it was interesting. There's a fish out of water type of storyline.
Yeah.
And just seeing like how the cultures change, and at the end it was very moving when he sung the song from the what's it called from the Bhutanese remote village.
Yeah,
and it cut and it smash cuts to, or not smash cut, but just cutaways to their student names on a chalkboard. Yeah. So he's probably gonna come back, I'm guessing, because when he goes to Australia, and nobody gave a fuck about his singing until he sang the Bhutanese song.
Yeah.
So I'm
we paid you to sing. What are you doing?
Yeah. He's probably gonna go back, but it's like I did like the film a lot. Not gonna lie, I don't know why. Maybe just like I'm older and like not sentimentality, but particularly these type of films, like I guess if they're not offering anything ridiculously new, I mean, like what got me the most of it because of my fascination with this remote village
and yaks.
Yeah, and yaks. Yeah, the yak was barely there, and also the religious aspect of the yak and how that their civilization almost kind of surrounds, like not surrounds, but it's revolves around the animal and stuff. It was fascinating to learn about it. I would rather, honestly, I'd rather see a documentary.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fine. We got this as a gateway drug, and I appreciate more on the sense that it will expose more people to Bhutanese films or this their type of culture.
Yeah, shines a light.
Yeah, but not my personal favorite. Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, honestly, kind of.
Were you disappointed that the yak only appeared in the last 30 minutes in the classroom?
I was looking for a yak and I barely got one. No, all jokes aside, I kind of was surprised that like there really was a lacking of yaks. I was expecting more yaks.
Probably production issues.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, there's yaks run on their own time. No, like it was. The story itself is a little generic. It's kind of like what you expect, but again, it's all about the presentation, and that was cool, and I really liked it, and it was again very fascinating to get an eye into this culture that is very rarely shined upon at all. So that was cool.
Yeah, and the characters were mostly fleshed out for the most part and stuff, and inside the character. Yeah, like I said, I honestly would rather see a documentary than this film. But this film was still enjoyable. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was very sweet. It was very easy to go through, and
for you, for me, it was not. I'm just kidding. For most people, it was easy.
Yeah, for me, it was. Yeah, it was like it was good.
I thrive off the difficult shit. Yeah, I jerk off to like, give me more misery and porn.
I think it was. I don't know. Nah, yeah, it was one of the easier ones of the foreign language films to get through. Even like I don't know. I think maybe the hardest one was Hand of God, not Hand of God. Maybe A Hero. Just because it was like it does bounce around a lot, and there's a lot to keep track of.
Oh, for me, I was like the easiest. I was like, oh, how much more is he gonna fuck up his life?
Yeah,
I was like excited, like
it is very interesting because again, you're watching it and it's just like, oh my gosh, like where the heck is this guy? Where's this going? I'm like, dude, is this guy gonna get sent to like super jail? Like, what's gonna happen? But whatever.
All right, so, let's talk about Hero. And so Hero is about what's called
he needs a hero.
It's our main character Rahim, who is in jail because his ex-wife's father. Because he borrowed money from like a failed business.
Yeah,
and and they're hinting that he got screwed over by his business partner. Then he can't pay back the debts by his ex-wife's father, and also probably out of spite for the fact that they got divorced.
Yeah,
like sent into prison, which is very apparently legal in Iran. And it's just kind of crazy, you know what I mean?
That is. Shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it sucks. So he's going to jail not for like a heinous crime, just because he owes money,
Yeah.
and for an extended period of time. And then there's a couple days out of the year where Rahim is able to get out, and then he gets out,
which is nice.
Yeah, and then Nazanin, who is his new lover, and he's planning to marry after he gets out of prison, is I'm able to get the money to pay back, right?
Yeah.
But she said I just found, basically it's a bag that she found with like jewelry.
Yeah.
But then, in a moment of conscious, a moment of morality, right? Moral conscious, where he
eventually decides to
he's
give
like
back.
He's like, let me give back, or like return it and stuff like that. He goes to the police, and even though he tells the truth to the police, they just but they were like, where'd you find it and stuff like that, and they kind of asked him to just twist the story because it's like it'll just sound better this way.
Yeah, they're like, oh, so it's like, oh, actually, I wasn't the one who found it, and they're like, oh, just say you found it, like it's fine, like it'll sound better. And he's like
a simple,
okay,
simple like changing a detail somehow like spiraled his life out of core control, which is honestly like how a lot of people happens nowadays, and it's like, and it's kind of sad. Like you see, like, and the main thing about this film is like, his films are always about how we're trapped by certain things, right?
Yeah.
In Separation is like how we're trapped, like how society traps us through marriage. A Salesman is how he traps us through like, what's it called? Like external circumstances. And this one is how you're trapped by economic pressures, right?
Yeah.
How society traps us through economics. That's why when somebody complained, a friend of ours complained that it just does the same thing. I'm like, hey, you're not paying attention. What's it called? As somebody who's watched all his films, like there's always like in subtle, like he always tackles similar things, but in different ways. And also brief things I mentioned. It was brought to our up by the same friend, or more Ron's friend. I never met the guy. What's it called? It's and like I say, we personally haven't been able to verify this for news publications. Yeah. But after watching documentaries, there's a lot of similarities. So I like to at least shout it out if it's not.
And for clarification, I did not watch the documentary.
Yeah,
it was a very busy weekend for me.
You don't like documentaries anyway. I'm just kidding. No, you do.
What the fuck?
No, you don't.
I like documentaries.
What's it called? It's Azadeh Mazizadeh. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. All Winners, All Losers. A documentary short released in 2015.
Yeah,
and from what we tell is that this film is inspired by that quite a bit. We'll just shout it out here, and I don't want to add more to it, and that's all I'll say. And your documentary was great, and I recommend people to watch that too. Actually,
yeah.
Back to A Hero. It's interesting to see just how like social perceptions or economic pressures change people in different ways to fit their needs, right? Or how they let their own vices or flaws affect what they say or do, and regardless of the care of the others, right?
Yeah.
Where like it's pretty shitty to put this person in prison for a debt, but the dad out of his own spite, and I get it, like his own love for his kid, his daughter, who got like kind of not fucked over, but I guess like their marriage ended not the best ways, right?
Yeah.
Like I can see from his perspective.
Daughter, or was it like his daughter-in-law?
No, it's his daughter.
His daughter? Okay.
Yeah, it's his daughter. Yeah, it's his daughter.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's his daughter that like, divorced an ex-wife and shit.
Yeah.
So also to find out that he's gonna get married to another person soon.
Yeah.
I could tell why he's spiteful. You know what I mean? That perspective is like there. Not gonna lie, maybe I would have done the same. And I don't know. I don't think I would have done
the same thing.
I don't think I would have done the same thing. But like, it's like you never know. Like when someone's in anger, right? Like they're not themselves.
Yeah.
And this guy, he is in the case, or even like his prison upkeepers or wardens or something like that.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, we had a controversy. Let's try to use this to put a positive spin on our prison.
Yeah.
Right, and say different things.
It's everyone else kind of using him for like, their own means and stuff.
Yeah.
And
but he's also using them too at the same time.
Yeah. And he's like trying to navigate
it.
it by showing he's still a good man.
And he is mostly, yeah, but he's flawed. Like that's what I love about his characters. It's complicated where he does have good intentions, but he's not executing in the best way. Sometimes deceitful way, or sometimes playing within the lies, which is deceitful in itself. But at the same time, because he's trapped by the economic pressure society put it on him with his debt, and that's like maybe his only way out of it. He's desperate, right? And you even see like with like another person who was like the taxi driver who talked about his own struggles. Remember the guy like who drove like, I'll help you out. I'll even say the story.
It's like, I get you going through, and then Even at the end when it's like, God, that's like the most fucking persistent journalist ever. That one guy.
Yeah, it would make sense. I mean, like good journalism.
Yeah,
journalists,
it does make sense. It's like it's hard to.
But sometimes they're also selfish in their way, or like by doing this, just you're gonna fuck over this guy's life.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I kind of appreciate about the film is that like no one is like everything's kind of
Except
it's
the son.
gray. Yeah. Oh yeah, except for the gray. The kid
Yeah.
is just like he's a kid. He's nice.
Yeah,
The
he's like
kids
the
that count.
victim of this. Yeah, which he
Yeah.
does in a lot of films. Like the kids are the victim of adult choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I did like that part at the end where he finally like his arc is completed, where he's like, I don't care about my selfish needs anymore. Like I have to put the needs of others, particularly his kid.
Yeah.
Right, like he saw like by having this video outside, like his kid's gonna get ridiculed.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I did like
no. He's like I got to stop this now.
yeah, and I did like that. Like it was like in his own weird way, he became a hero at the end by like doing a sacrificial, self-sacrifice. Man,
He is a hero.
I know. Dude, I've heard so many memes. Like I saw a meme on that. It's like it's like the guy's face on like an animated girl dancing or something. Raheem's face. I don't know what the hero. It's so weird, dude. Reddit is a weird space. You go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
What's it called? And I was weirded out because I was like, it's like foreign film, right? Who's seen this? Whatever. So yeah, I did like that part of it, and that was a very powerful moment at the end when he stopped it. And I did like the screenplay, like how it like it somehow like bounces around a lot, but it's all like you see where the line is going, and you see where his arc is going, and how his character's changing in. And brief, oh my god, Amir Jadidi as the main guy, Raheem.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, great, like very understated
Yeah.
performance, but you see like that like he's these seething kind of emotions that are like
Yeah.
just underneath the surface that he's trying to like that he can't really quite express. Or
Yeah, he's
let
like
out.
polite, but there's moments of anger and stuff like that.
Yeah, where he's just like, "Ugh," like he just wants to be able to finally lash out or something, but he doesn't really allow himself to, except for certain times where
Yeah,
he just kind
certain
of gets
times.
pushed over the edge, and it's understandable, like his frustrations
He
are
gets
like,
swept over.
yeah,
And then it's just like, oh, it's this snowballing effect that I loved in this film. Yeah, and also Amir Jadidi, I would have had him nominated instead of Javier Bardem. Because I know there was a chance that he was gonna get nominated for Best Actor, but then it's a Javier Bardem for being the Ricardos.
What the hell?
Yeah, actually, do you think that was an Oscar-worthy performance from Amir Jadidi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of hesitate. Like, I'm just kind of going over it. I'm like, yeah, I would think so. I mean, there's a lot of films like, that, yeah, I would say it was a great performance. You know what? I don't know if I would entirely say, no, you know what? It's a complicated film because there's a lot of nuance that kind of goes into it.
Right, because you just recently watched it, right?
Yeah, I did just watch it yesterday. So
for me,
I
it was
can't-
like I've had the luxury to kind of gestate it since like for a while.
yeah, gestate, fermentate.
Yeah, I know. What's it called?
Yeah, no, for me, yeah, it's hard to say because I did just watch it. So
Yeah, and the ending is haunting in the sense like I know the same friend is like, oh, it's the most cliche, and I'm like, really? How many? Okay,
yeah, I don't want to say too much because Gavam's not here to really defend his point.
Why
but
are you doxing him right now? Why are you telling his name?
I'm just gonna say because
That's what I say. We're gonna wait for him to come in and we'll have a conversation about this.
But just
Yeah.
saying that he thought that the ending was cliche or on the nose, I'm not entirely sure what he means by that.
Because like the ending is like also like the way I interpret the ending is like there's a little bit because he sees a couple,
Yeah.
and he sees like him and Nazanin.
Yeah.
What's it called? By the way, Nazanin is his lover. And he sees that hopeful in the sense that hopefully that's gonna be him in the future, right?
Yeah.
He accepts his fate and he's gonna live on.
I love
So
that.
it's a semi-tragic, hopeful ending.
Yeah, I love the framing in that final shot at the end of just like basically on one side it's like the prison entrance or whatever, and on the other side is that window to the outside,
Yeah.
and everything. Great
He's just
final
there,
shot.
but he's in prison.
Yeah,
Right.
he's just like exactly open gates right outside, broad daylight.
Yeah.
It's just like, yep. He's
It's
gonna go
it's
back.
another film I feel like it's subtly stylish, right? It's like so there's handheld, but there's like always good framing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then when Raheem is center of attention, he's always center frame in those type of scenes.
The least good looking of these movies, if I could say it like that, but I'll say like it's the most subtle. I'll
I
say
think
of like because when it like a shot like that kind of presents itself, it's just like whoa, it kind of takes you back a little bit more.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is a great shot, and it lets you sit in it for a while, which I really appreciate. Just kind of just watching this
Yeah,
unfold.
I get that. I think I can see why people say that.
Yeah.
And technically, yeah, because the landscape of Yunana,
Yeah.
or not Lunana, right?
Yeah.
Lunana Yak in the classroom is fucking beautiful. The landscapes in that shot.
So it's a little bit cheating.
Yeah, but it's still filmed well. I think this one, I give more props to this one because one, the budget is like super low.
This one is like a little bit more refined filmmaking.
Yeah, it's like very refined, very purposeful, methodical.
Yeah,
yeah, like that. Did that one shot where like it's a holds on a close up of his car after getting defeated by the journalist and not getting the job. Yeah, and it just kind of holds on it. That's a shot that like, just kind of resonates with me, speaks to me. It's like I still think about it now and then. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that it was justified to have Lunana instead over a hero? Considering also like heroes like just has so much more. I don't know.
It is definitely a deeper film. I think I think it does have a little bit more to say. It
has a lot more to say.
yeah. It's like again, it's like I don't want to discredit Lunana at all.
No, I know.
It's a very sweet
cool. Yes.
film. It's very sentimental. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like it's touching in its own way, and that's great. But at the same time, it's like I don't know. A hero felt like again, it's just that more refined, cinematic, a little bit more just like complicated, like moral kind of story where it's like it is kind of towing the line between like honesty and deception and what it means to be like a good person and stuff like this. Like how much is like, oh, is he a good person now? Does that erase his like debts before? I don't know. Debt of course being like the main issue. Yeah. Like that, the symbolism behind that. I definitely would think that like this one should have been like probably over Lunana. It's like I would love to see the guy's follow-up work for Lunana. Like but this one not quite there, I think it was
out of nowhere.
Great. Yeah. But
like,
did it deserve it? I don't know, man. I think it's
even
like
Titan. I would put Titan, or there's another film.
Yeah, Titan.
We haven't you haven't seen yet, but one day I'll show you. It's the person who made A Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Petit Maman.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see
that.
Yeah,
I know. Don't try to lie to me. I know what you watch. I'm Big Brother in that.
No, Titan would have like even overshadowed this one again, which is again that was a second attempt too. So like building a little bit more time, I think. But I'm glad to hear this guy getting a shout out though.
Yeah, that's good for him. All right, let's get into rankings and ratings. All right, my ranking. Okay, my number one. I was worst person was originally, but I kind of changed. It's Drive My Car is my number one. My number two is The Worst Person in the World.
Yeah.
Number three is Hand of God. Number four is actually, you know what? I don't know. It's hard. It's number 3 and 4 is switched either Hand of God or a hero for me, but I'm gonna lean towards Hand of God just because of how fucking insanely pretty that film is. So number 3 is Hand of God. Number 4 is Hero. Number 5 is Flea. Even though I loved Flea, but it's almost cheating too because it's documentary and stuff. But and number 6 is Lunana. Yeah, but to be fair, 3, 4, like 3, 4, and 5 could like be interchangeable any day for me personally.
Yeah. I feel like my top 3 could like be interchangeable just depending on my mood. But I'm gonna put like probably Drive My Car, then The Hand of God, then Worst Person in the World, then probably Flea, A Hero, and then Lunana.
Yeah. Let's go ratings. My ratings for Drive My Car and Worst Person in the World are both in the museum. What about you for those? And Flea is also in the museum. So what about those 3 films?
What Drive My Car, Worst Person in the World, and Flea?
Yeah. Has it changed from your rating before? Because I know you put on the shelf for both of those, right? Drive My Car and Worst Person.
Yeah, it's still gonna be on the shelf for me.
And Flea's still in the museum.
Yeah, Flea's up there because it's just like
it's different. It's trend setting.
Yeah, but again, it's a documentary. It's not exactly a film.
I mean, it's not. It's not documentaries are still films.
Yes, they're still films. It's a different
nonfiction.
Kind.
Yeah.
Yes, nonfiction. It's very different. So it's hard to relate in this one. It's the same sense when it's like it doesn't feel like it exactly belongs in this category because it's a documentary, different than like
narrative. But
yeah,
it's kind of cheating.
Yeah, being in the same like best animated feature, and it's like it's not really like
well, I mean, it is animated. It makes more sense. In the sense that, like at least it's like at least it's animated.
Yeah, you got what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For The Hand of God, I'm gonna put that one. I'm gonna put also that one like on the shelf too.
Yeah,
it's a great film. It's something I do want to revisit at some point as well.
Same. Hand of God for me is on the shelf. A Hero, it's on the shelf. It's not my favorite of his Farhadi's films, so I can't put it in the museum. And that's part of my thing. It has to be like also exemplar. Like if this was the best Farhadi film,
Yeah.
and it's just fucking trend setting for Iranian film industry, maybe, but nah, it's not. It's great though. It's on the shelf for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna put like
Streaming with ads. I'm just predicting.
You're not wrong. I'll say yeah, streaming with ads.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, you
That's
just
great.
watched it yesterday. Or like the day before, right?
Lunana, I'll also put streaming with ads.
Lunana for me is like, no bargain, but it's too harsh.
Jeez.
It's streaming with ads. It's well made.
I can't believe you.
Yeah, my new What's it called? And Hero, yeah, I expected that. You know what I mean? All right, thank you guys. Okay, or prediction: who's gonna win? It's easy. Drive My Car. It's easy. Who's gonna win? Drive My Car.
Yeah, it's the only one that was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
The only way I could see like that it might suck, but like I don't know, like it might get like undershot by like I think Worst Person in the World.
Yeah,
just
maybe.
because it's got like there's a lot of like
love
support
for that film.
and like a lot of people who really
got
like
nominated for
that
Best
movie.
Originals or no, Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah, and then to make a comment on one of the comments that we've had on our video where people are saying like, oh, is it now going to be is going to be remade into an American film? I think it's more likely that it would if it wins this, at least Best Foreign Film. People are going to be like, ooh, that movie's going to get made. But who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you guys for another episode of Half a Clue movie review. And stay tuned for our next one. And thank you for listening. Okay. Yeah. Put your favorite international feature film or foreign language film that you've watched in 2021.
Whether it was nominated or not.
Bye.